It's 2,000 atmospheres. It's back. It's here again. It's never gonna leave. We're always gonna see this map. In the top right-hand corner. Did manage to get a 2-0 the last time these players met. Has made his way back after a swift defeat of Beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Maru. And in the bottom left, he's made it back. Another chance to try and qualify. Did get knocked down earlier as aforementioned 0-2 from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It's Dark. Only one of these players can advance, which is crazy because both of them absolutely, I think, deserve to with how well they've been playing. Of course, already advancing from qualifier number 2, you do have Bunny and Rogue. Rogue did manage to defeat Maru and looked pretty good doing it, so maybe not a surprise there that Rogue, of course, has qualified. Rogue always in contention for being, you know, one of the greatest Zergs of all time. Just with how consistently good he's been over the years, of course, with, you know, his GSL win, his World Championships, everything there for Rogue. And I mean, it's a similar story for Dark. Of course, Dark World Champion, GSL Champion. Dark has all of those accolades as well. And a bit more recent, GSL Season 2. 2021, I believe, was when Dark did manage to get that win. And then, of course, the World Championship, where he did manage to win over, it was Raynor. And as on the side of Maru, a player that, of course, has always, I think, has always kind of gotten the upper hand of Dark. It always has felt like Maru has been the player who has gotten the series wins over Dark when it really matters. But Maru, I don't think, has actually had the exact same international success. Maru's domestic success, of course, is unparalleled. 4 GSL wins. Still, of course, always hunting for that 5th, that G5L, that is always possible. Because Maru's form is just always seemingly pretty dang solid. But just internationally, not quite the same amount of success. Of course, Maru did get the win in Asus Rock 2. And that was really, I think, the last kind of big, the most recent big tournament win here for Maru. Will, of course, be participating in a lot of the upcoming tournaments. But one of these players is not going to be able to make it to the main event for NeXT 2021. And it's a bit shocking, because again, both these players are absolutely good enough to make it. As last time they faced off, of course, Maru did end up getting the 2-0. Had some really creative builds that he actually pulled out. He ended up actually using a Hellbat Concussive Shell Marauder timing in game number 1 that caught Dark off guard. That was really cool. And we're not going to be seeing that this game, though. It is actually the 2-1-1. This is the build that Maru had excellent success with in Asus ROG. In Asus ROG. And used it, you know, again, to defeat Cyril in games against Rogue that he ended up winning. Maru has shown some really great diversity with this build that I'm excited to see how he pulls it out, although we have seen, of course, it be defeated by the aforementioned Rogue. And it's actually going to be, in fact, a Roach Warren here for Dark. Dark loves his roaches. Name a more iconic duo than Dark and Roach Ravager. Go ahead. I'm waiting for it. I mean, aside from, like, SOS and Cannon Rushing. And, you know, and aside from that, Dark and Roach Ravager. It's where he's the most comfortable. It's the composition that he, of course, feels the best with and the most safe with. But of course, Dark's Ling, you know, his Ling Bane as well is nothing to be scoffed at. It looks so good, but this is just Dark's preferred style, and it's one that has kind of fallen out of favor, especially in CBT. You see most players nowadays just go for the straight up Ling Bane into Hydra Lurker, which does just have a lot more mid-game power when it scales up. Dark feels like the only Zerg who makes Roach Ravager into Infestor work. And that's just a testament to how good Dark is with these units. But we do have the push coming across the map. It is going to be 16 Marines and 2 medevacs out on the field for Maru. Maybe seeing if he can get any damage done. Of course, has the third CC immediately following it up. Is not going to be committing super hard to aggression with a third barracks behind this or anything like that. No, it's just going to be the small little force of units they're going to poke out. They're going to try and see if they can get creep tumor kills, perhaps poke down a queen. They're not going to be looking to get serious damage, especially with the roaches already out for Dark. And ooh, Maru actually just lifts up and goes straight on into the main. But the queens are already there. So far from Dark, pretty impeccable early game here. Completely able to negate the potential damage of this 2-1-1. And now, I mean, immediately into a round of 11 drones. And that's absolutely what Dark should be doing. Knows that he's going to be safe for at least a little while until Maru gets out onto the map. So he's getting immediately into the worker production, saturating the third base completely is going to be the goal before adding on too many more units. Does have a few roaches in production with the glial reconstitution. Does not actually have any upgrades going down on these Evo chambers, which I do find a bit strange as Maru has started up his +1/+1. As well as no fourth base here from Dark. Really committing just to the 3 bases, making sure that he's safe on it. We do have Maru, 2-pronged attacks here, going to be dropping on into the natural with the Widow Mine. Going to bring the rest of the Marines on into the main base. Just a bit of early pressure here from Maru. Should be able to get actually quite a few worker kills here. Dark didn't pull his drones fast enough, loses 5 at the start. Actually, Dark right now sitting at a fairly low worker count, only 54. Has not resaturated, or has not saturated that third base. Here we go, Maru once again dropping on into the main, looking for a few worker kills. Gets one, gets on out. Ooh, medevac. So very, very low. Double drop, gonna try and push back on in. Does manage to get, again, a few drone kills and pulls out. Maru not wanting to overextend, just keeping tabs on the army size for Dark and exactly how many uses have. And actually, we're having an infestation pit already from Dark. 13 drones and an infestation pit. Dark, this is what you do when you are so confident in your defense. This is the ultimate Chad move from Dark, as he's looking to just go straight into, I mean, Roach Ravager Infester hasn't even added on the 4th hatchery yet. Is also adding on a Hydralisk Den at 64 workers. I mean, it's a fully saturated 3 bases, of course, here for Dark. Maru will be catching up to it soon, though. Again, already has all the mineral patches on his 3rd base. And finally, we are going to see the 4th go down here for Dark. And again, this is the style that Dark loves. This is the style that Dark thrives in. Is, again, this, early hive. He's going to be, of course, getting on into very, very early lurkers here. Oh, Dark almost kills his own roaches there. As the lurker den goes down, also has the option to go for the infestors, but isn't actually going to be getting on into it. As Maru stimming on in, this force of Marines can actually fight decently well. They do have 1-1, but Maru will have to pick on up. And again, try and stim on in and get at least a bit of health down on this 4th base. Again, any HP that you can get out of it is going to be less that you have to chew through later to try and get a kill. Maru dodges the corrosive vials, stimming back in now on the right side, actually catches Dark pushing a bit too far forward. And this is where the weakness of the Roach Ravager is going to lay, is in these extended skirmishes. When Maru's able to take strays off creep, that's where it starts to get a bit sketchy for Dark. Maru constantly scanning to be able to clear up this creep behind this. What is the composition? Well, tanks are being added on in 2-2 and +1 weapon attacks on the way. And Maru just not taking a straight-on fight with the brunt of the roaches. Now you do have Hydralisk now on the way. The Adaptive Talons coming through here for the lurkers for that burrow speed. Also have, I believe it was, yeah, 2 infestors that were produced. Ooh, Dark. Loses the Ravager. Does manage to actually snipe a medevac there. But now you have the push from Maru, and I don't know if there's too much that Dark has to really stop this base from going down. The 4th can just be sieged by the Marines, and that's going to immediately fall. Maru has so much to work with right now. The tanks, of course, a bit clumped up. Oh my, Maru! No. No, you, there's nothing in the main, I guess? This might work. Tanks should be able to siege on up. Marines being dropped on in. Maru, balls of steel, is just going to be dropping on into the main base, trying to take a fight. Immediately corrosive vials going down onto the tanks. Dark just coming on forward, gets rid of the tanks. Fungal growth, corrosive bile, doesn't land. All the Marines get out, but that was such a sketchy move there. If Dark had been able to land those corrosive biles after the fungals, that could have been horrible for Maru. But now Maru going to be able to catch a drone transfer. Oh, 12 workers go down. Maru right now is in such a good position in this game. Dark, I don't know what you're going to do. Because right now, Maru has complete control of this mid-game. He's pushing it two sides at once. He's winning trades, but that fungal growth is absolutely massive. All the Marines should at least fall. Trying to extend the trade out, but Dark finally is going to force Maru away. At the same time, Maru, he's established a 4th base. Maru's ahead on bases versus Dark. Dark got so greedy in this game on 3 bases, and it just hasn't worked out. His lurkers are only just now being produced. The infestors were good, but they haven't been doing as much work as Dark needs. We'll get rid of the medevacs here in the main, but Queens are gonna go down. Oh, and the Viper gets sniped. Maru with great focus fire. He's going to lose units on the left side flank, but now has a massive army swinging down to this right side. Scouts for a 5th and says, oh, there's no 5th. All right, awesome. This is great. Maru completely happy with that scout out. Look at the upgrade difference. It's 1-1 Roach Ravager versus 2-2 Bio. 3-3 on the way. Maru in complete control of this game, in complete command of this game. And I mean, sure, the supplies are, close, but as a Zerg, you never want to be, down in supply. And sure, Dark does have a fairly decently large army. I mean, if you're looking at the units, 5 Lurkers, does have 2 Infestors, a lot of Roach Ravager. It's a decently sized army, but again, most of it is the Roach Ravager. Most of it is in, this very supply-intensive unit that does not trade that efficiently, and that's what we've seen over the course of these last 4 or 5 minutes. As Maru just continuing to trade so well, is going to be swinging his whole army up to this left side. Again, trying to just cancel bases wherever he can. Dark's going to try and commit on in. Immediately gets 2 tanks with the corrosive biles and the commit in. But now Maru knows there's lurkers, scans them out. Does force Dark to back on up at the same time. Army on the right side just gonna stim their way on into the natural, immediately focusing down the extractors. Doesn't want Dark to have any of that gas, especially knowing that Dark's trying to go again for Lurker Infestor. As the Marauders moving forward, Maru gonna be able to get rid of so many Lurkers here. And Dark just losing on both flanks. So many tanks right now, sitting at 9 for Maru. There's not even really that much bio with this attack. It's just the tanks. The right flank will be pushed back finally by Dark. Maru just picks on up and is now bringing over the rest of his bio, has Ghosts added on in. The tank line is just pushing forward. Again, no Marines. There's 3 Marauders with this, but there's 7 tanks. Dark is gonna try and commit on forward. Should be able to get on top of the tanks at the very least, but now the bio is here. Now the bio can fight another tank being brought in for support. Dark's supply is dropping drastically. And Maru just takes a wonderful trade. He cancels the 4th again. GG, Maru takes a dominant game 1. Top right-hand corner from Team NV. Taking that game 1. Just snowballing his lead so well. Look completely dominant. It's Maru. In the bottom left, last chance to qualify. Last life here. You can't lose another game or you are out. From Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it's Dark. Again, in that last game, it wasn't like an awful position right off the bat for Dark. Definitely got off to a good start, but the tech choices kind of were not quite, I think, what you'd want to see. Again, the really early infestation pit to try and get into lurkers. The 4th base was so delayed, and that just meant that by the time it was going down, Maru had enough army to try to pressure both sides of the map and to eventually cancel it, because Dark didn't quite have the economy to both, build up his Roach Ravager bulk, which is needed to really defend, and also get Hydralisks and Infestors and get into the lurkers with the upgrades, and also keep up on his upgrades. It was only at 1-1 at the end of that game. Still, Maru had 3-3 finishing up. Just a really, really solid game for Maru, and for Dark, we'll see how he changes his approach in game 2. because that build order definitely won't work again. That definitely won't work. It didn't work in game 1, not going to work in game 2. So we shall see. We do have the 2-on-1 coming back out for Maru again. I like this. I like this. I like it for Maru. It's super solid. He looks good with it, even when he doesn't get damage done in the 2-on-1. Even when Dark, defended it perfectly. The transition looks so clean for Maru. There was no real hold up there, and so I like the build. And even if he doesn't get damage with the initial 16 Marines, the follow up, the pressure that he can start to kind of extend out onto the map, it feels very comfortable for Maru. Of course, he does have the ability to transition out of it to just go for your standard 1-1-1, your Destiny Cloud Fist, getting the Reaper and the Hellions up for pressure on the map. But the 2-on-1 will be the build of choice. As for Dark, well, third hatchery going down right on time. Does already have, of course, everything coming through, I believe. Yeah, it's now going to be starting up with that speed upgrade, and all is standard and all is well here between these two players at the start of game 2. No shenanigans, which is a bit surprising. Maru is the type of player that I would expect to, especially in his series that he does play, has a bad tendency to try and cheese in game 2 if he wins game number 1 in a best of 3. It's just a little thing that Maru does, but does not want to go for that route. Instead, just going to be playing completely standard. As you have the factory finishing on up immediately, the reactor and the starport being placed on and down. And Maru is doing just hiding the Marines. This is just a little trick. It's not even really a trick, but a little move that you can do, of course, to just try and make sure your opponent doesn't really know what's going on. So far for Dark, this looks like a completely standard opening from Maru, bar having any Hellions out on the map. And I think that should kind of clue Dark into the fact that this is a 2-on-1, or at least some sort of it should clue him into that it's a 2-on-1. Usually, even if you're going for a fast third CC, you'll have Hellions out if you're not going for this. Maru is actually switching it up, though. You have 2 Hellions in production and a single medevac and the armory. Ooh, Maru. Okay, I like this. Maru is going to actually be going for a bit of an augmented Hellion or Hellbat timing attack. I guess not just going to be straight up Hellbats. Hellbats on their own, not that good at trying to, do damage with that timing attack. So is going to be adding on Stim Marines. It's going to have combat shields on the way. I don't know if he'll wait until it's finished for this push, but you'll have about 4 Hellbats with this attack. And this could be dangerous if Dark isn't ready. Dark does already have the Baneling Nest finished up. Does have the chance to build Banelings, and there we go, 6 Banelings on the way. And this will be very intense. It's all going to depend on the micro for both these players. Can Dark get the initial surround? Do the Banelings find good hits? You already see the Queens being pulled back into position. Dark has, I think, almost a complete read on what this is. Perhaps thinking, of course, that it's just the 2-on-1. We'll see if the Hellbats add, kind of a wrinkle into his plans. I don't imagine it's going to be too much. As here we go. Maru going to be pushing on in, pushing the Marines first. Of course, they are the more microable with the stim. Immediately stims them on back. Ling's trying to go on forward. Baneling just walking on in. They can blow up the Hellbats. And Maru microing his heart out, but despite that, everything falls. And again, the Hellbat timing attacks, they don't work. They don't work. Maru made it work once with concussive shell marauders. They just don't work. As right now, you do have centrifugal hooks and +1/+1 on the way for Dark. Completely unfazed. Completely unfazed. Handle that, almost perfectly. Maru is going to be trying to go in here with more Stim Marines and a medevac. Should actually be able to snipe down these Queens. Immediate transfusion, though. Will manage to keep it all alive. Maru's down 20 supply, though. I'm still I'm shocked at how easily Dark handled that Hellbat attack. Like, I thought maybe, you know, oh, maybe if there's some good micro from Maru, he's gonna be able to, you know, try and get some damage done. Maybe snipe a few queens, get rid of the Zerglings. No! Dark just walks his Banelings forward. Boom, attack's done, it's over. Of course, Maru isn't dead, he's still in a fine position, but why do we keep going for these Hellbat attacks? They don't work. It worked once for Maru, and it was a different build than this one. Of course, I understand trying to get the drop on your opponent, but the thing is, even with a regular 2-on-1 opening, Dark is probably still going to get Banelings out, and so the Hellbats actually aren't going to do that much, because Banelings are already going to be out. That's already going to be a preparation that Dark has made, and so you're just adding another unit that Banelings do well against. Dark completely crushes it. Now you are going to see Maru start to mix it up, is immediately going for the Drilling Claws. This is kind of the adaptation that people make when that initial Hellbat attack fails, is, well, okay, I need to use this armory somehow, add on an early second factory, get the Drilling Claws. Now you can go for really aggressive Widowmine drops, and that's what we should be seeing here from Maru if the medevac doesn't get sniped. Good reaction time there from Maru. We'll see if this is able to get any damage done. Even if you are in position, the speed burrow on these Widowmines is just so dangerous. There we go, the first 3 actually being dropped, immediately burrowing. Oh, the shots! 11 go down. Should be able to drop now on into natural speed burrow down. Focus fire, 14 drones in total. The dangerous speed burrow Widowmines. They do so much damage, and they're able to even get on out of Spore Crawler range. And that's, I mean, that was really necessary damage for Maru, just to get something going for himself. Right now, you do have Dark getting on into the Hydralisks, has Muscular Augments on the way, Reburrow on into the base, fires on the Cocoons, will just then get on out of dodge. Maru has evac'd this single Widowmine that was in the natural, is going to be saving it for later, has another Widowmine drop heading on in. This one, though, Queens are already there. A bit risky to try and go for that as that shot. 3 more workers go down. Maru's just going to pick it up once again. And loving the, you know, the harassment here from Maru. Still, of course, you know, a bit worried because Dark has, for the most part, aside from that, you know, 14 workers, 18 workers going down, is still in a pretty decent position. Dark this game has not gone for the Roach Ravager. I think very smartly has realized that that was really just did not work well for him, and so is instead just going with Lingbane, and I love Dark's Lingbane style. I think he's so good with it. We're just kind of swarming over your opponents. Here we go. Maru's trying to make a push, but the Ling's committing on in. Maru just gets to the medevacs. Run, run, run. We don't want to try and make this work. As again, Widowmines burrow in. 9 more workers killed. Maru, relentless here with this harassment. He's going to have to be careful. Leaves that single Widowmine here. See if it manages to get damage done. Of course, it does still have the Widowmine in the medevac, pocketed at the back, dead airspace of the main base. Maru, 3 medevacs unload, gonna look for a trade here against those Zerglings. A great mind drag by Dark. Does avoid a majority of the damage, but you're finally having Maru start to get himself into a lead now. And again, this is where it was looking sketchy for Maru, but with how much damage he's found with the harassment, with how much he's been able to get into a solid position, does just feel a whole lot better for him as he's working on 2-2, has a 4th base established, is still continuing the 3 Widowmine production at the time. I would like to see tanks start to be produced fairly soon here because you already have Vipers on the way. You're going to be having Lurkers as soon as these adaptive Talons are finished up. You're going to see the Vipers. Oh my! Dark snipes 2 medevacs immediately, but it's a push on the left side. This base just might go down. There's absolutely nothing here. 2 tanks are with it, and the Widowmines to boot. Friendly fire from the Widowmine, doesn't matter. Maru picks on up, gets on out, snipes a base. Widowmines will all go down, but now you have this drop coming on into the 5th of Dark. Not gonna be able to get any damage there. Medevacs looping back around. What's in the main base right now? Not much is there. Dark's army is very out of position for this. Maru, once again, going to drop on in. Should be able to at least take clear up the creep tumors here if he wants to drop a scan. Just just going to try and go for the Spore Crawlers by now. Dark bringing back the Zerglings. Everything pick up. Maru considering just trying to go right back on into that fourth, but decides against it again. Widow Mine's being burrowed. This time not much success. Dark on top of the response. But behind this, Maru, 4 bases fully saturated right now, is building up, starting to at least, get a bank going as he is approaching maxed out. But lurkers are on the way for Dark. And again, the difference in this game is just the timings for Dark. That first game felt so awkward with the infestation pit, with all the tech that Dark was trying to get on top of Roach Ravager, which is already so cost inefficient. Just felt very, very strange. Maru will be able to get on out of this position, has another army on this right side, so many Widow Mines with it. 3 more CCs on the way for Maru as he's adding on Ghost and +3/+3. This is Maru getting ready to take this game to the late stage. As he has those medevacs there is actually an opening here. Killed the Spore Crawler earlier, so there's only 1 left, not in the best spot to try and stop that drop from getting through. Instead, Maru just pushing. Lurkers on the high ground will be able to dissuade him from really going too much further, as well as the rest of Dark's army, which is quite scary. The rest of that army, quite scary right now, sitting at, 73 Zerglings alongside the 6 lurkers that have been added on. Maru just trying to buy time right now. And as the Terran, this is absolutely what you want to do when the Zerg is starting to get into this late game army, is you want to try and buy time. Ooh, immediately 2 parasitic bombs should be able to clear up the rest of those medevacs. Ooh, on the right side, a fight. Splits coming out from Maru, manages to get rid of a lot of the Banelings, now stimming on top of the first lurker. Second one is just barely in range, but there's still 2 more there. Oh, Maru doesn't kill it. There we go. Marauder stims on forward, is able to get it, but 12 lurkers on the way for Dark. 12! What are you gonna do with 12 lurkers? Well, it looks like Dark is getting ready to push. Dark is tired of sitting back and defending. He's defended for long enough. He's pushed back all of Maru's attacks. Dark wants to get some damage done. He absolutely might be able to. These Mind Drags, so beautiful by Dark. Finally takes, a decent hit against his army. And manages to push Maru back. 3-3 finish up for both these players. Melee upgrades for Dark, looking to augment this Ling Bane to make it even stronger. Also has, he has 3 Evo Chambers working at a time right now. Also getting +2 for his lurkers. Ghosts are now out. Have the late game tech here for Maru already in production. Liberators as well. And as soon as this 3-3 finishes, of course, the bio is going to be that much more efficient. But it's trading. But Dark, he's looking to try and come on in. He has so many Lings, but it's risky when you don't have the whole army together here. Dark has split his lurkers and his Ling Bane up, committing on in the left flank. He's gonna walk the lurkers on up to the third. Doesn't matter that he loses on that flank because the base is lifted. He's gonna be able to get all the supply depots. Sensor tower will go down. Maru doesn't even want to try and get rid of those lurkers. Instead, he's gonna push onto this left side. And what is there actually to defend this base? There's not a lot. There's no lurkers here. There's actually nothing to help defend. It is just Banelings. Maru able to split against those, immediately going to siege up. Now Lurker's going to be brought on over. The entire army being brought back to defend, and they're going to be able to trade decently well. 6 base does go down for Dark, but cleans up the army. Maru sitting now on 4 bases. Essentially has to resaturate his third. Try and get back up to that 5 base economy. Base already sitting at 77 workers. Now the Ghosts, though, do have personal cloaking, do have these snipes available, are going to throw him down immediately. A few lurkers going down. And continue Liberator production for Maru, but Dark, look at this army that he has ready. So many Banelings. 37 Banelings morphing in. Maru scans it. So many lurkers. This is it. Dark's gonna go for the massive attack, and I don't know what Maru has. Does he have enough tanks here to help defend? Does have them, but they're so far back. Planetary Fortress is going to be the target here for Dark, who's gonna move on forward. Baneling's gonna instead just go straight for the mineral line. The base, the planetary will go down. 23 workers fall. Scans and snipes are going down, but the lurkers are not falling fast enough. Instead, it's the Ghosts that are going to end up falling. The snipes now finally going to start to come on out. Lurkers gonna start to fall, but still Dark takes an incredible trade, kills a base, is now also sieging up the third once again. More workers are gonna go down for Maru. Liberator does manage to clear out the Hydralisks. The Orbital Commando now under fire. Everything being brought on over. Snipe's gonna go down. Should be able to clear out this small group of lurkers, but 26 workers end up dying. And the supplies even out, but mind you, that's a 2k bank right now for Dark. There is so much to work with here for the DPG Zerg, who's currently, I mean, sitting on, I believe right now, 6 bases, 7 for Larva, 3+3 for the lurkers coming through that range attack. Already has +3 melee and Carapace for the Ling Bane. I mean, Maru's gonna try and push with this surround. He just has to back on up. He knows he can't fight here. He has to get on out. Does manage to start the trade decently well here for Maru, but he's just gonna slowly start to lose units. He's stimming on forward, onto the lurkers. The ghosts are exposed, the Banelings rolling on forward. Gonna be able to immediately clear up the Widow Mines and a lot of the Marauders. The ghosts are still alive, but Maru has to get on out. His supply is dropping. And it's now 190 to 140. Dark has used up his bank, but for Maru, you know, he's not gonna be able to rebuild as easily, and that's the real danger here. Is sure you even out the banks, but the supply. 4 ghosts in that medevac almost going down. Not enough energy for a parasitic bomb on that Viper. The mines are on road. Maru gonna try and hold this third base location. I don't know if you can. A Ling run by being sent over to this orbital command center. Oh, the Liberator not in position. Dark's gonna push down the base. Oh, so many workers going down there by that counterattack. 18, 19 falling. Maru's supply just dropping. 34 workers, still has a large army, but his economy is in shambles. And Dark playing this second game so much better. Of course, it's still so dangerous with how many units Maru has. 17 Marauders, 11 Ghosts. He does have those 3 tanks, but they're being kept at home. They're not going to be brought forward to try and fight. And that single Liberator has finally been resieged here to help defend the 5th base. Maru committing on in, immediately Snipes going on and down. Actually a great start here so far to this fight, but again, you have Dark who's kind of, he's got another, you know, bank. He's still sitting at 1k minerals in the bank. Still has this massive army. Maru's army supply is starting to fall, but it's still trading decently well. But the Hydra's just running on up. There's so much here for Dark. Maru's trying to fight, but he just has to pick up and get on out. And I don't think he can hold this third base this time. Immediately has to be lifted on up. As Maru, I mean, you have a tank in the main here. There's 3 tanks that are not really doing anything to help out. And sure, they only have +1. You know, they're not going to be two-shotting the lurkers with +2. But having those available would just be so much better for Maru. Does have the army supply lead, but still sitting at 46 workers. It's pretty much on, I mean, 1, 2, 1.5 mining bases, as opposed to the 8 so far from Dark, who's building his 8th, of course, but there we go. A nice snipe onto the hatchery. Should be rebuilt immediately, though, by Dark. Maru is starting to get a bit of a bank here, not spending his money as well as he could. And that's a bit dangerous as Ghost immediately going down. Dark's committing on in with the army. He's up 50 supply. Dark, he's going to look to try and run over Maru with one last push. Marauders trying to tank the Banelings. Ghosts running away. Marines falling. 30 supply leads so far for Dark, but it's going to get even more as more Lings are going to come through that production tab. Maru fighting for his absolute life here, but bases have gone down. Worker lines have fallen. 25 more workers fall. The economy is gone for Maru. And Dark, this late game Zerg army, so well played as Dank goes down, Ling run by continued, more worker kills. Maru doesn't have any mining left. He's at 120 supply. It is all in his army. And he has to try and win the game with it. But look what there is for Dark. Maxed out, 8 bases, 84 workers. This is the last hurrah for Maru. Still has 1 tank that is sitting in the main base. Of course, it wouldn't do much for this fight. fight, which seems so doomed here on Hardwire. The Zerg Swarm just gonna commit on in. GG is called. Dark's gonna bring us to game 3. The map that has had possibly the closest TVZs on it. Such a interesting layout to it as well, but in the bottom left-hand corner, he's brought us to this location with some incredible late-game ZVT. Ling Bane Hydra Lurker from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. It's Dark. And in the bottom right, last life for him now too. Last chance to qualify. He hasn't made it in just yet. Would love to go on to join Bunny in the main event. From Team NV, it's Maru. Oh. And how else would we have a game 3 than with Maru with the double proxy racks? This is the most Maru thing that I've ever seen. It's game 3? This is my last chance? Oh, double proxy racks. Now Dark is going to spot it here, actually, with the Overlord. Oh. No. Oh, he sees it still. No way. Dark changed his path. Almost missed it, but still sees it. That's crazy. That's so lucky for Dark. That was so close to being not scouted. If Maru had this barracks a little bit further back, this was not going to be scouted. But now it's been seen. Maru knows so, has seen the Overlord, should immediately be trying to at least pop down the bunkers in a safe position, but you already have only 3 drones being pulled. Of course, Dark does have the spawning pool finishing up soon, and will be using that to immediately produce into, or immediately get up his lings. The bunker's gone down. More drones now coming off the line. Of course, Dark just mining minerals for as long as he can. Maru gonna try and see how much damage he can get done. Already getting a worker kill is a great start. Second one gonna go down, but the workers surround. 3 falls so far. It's 4 Marines out. Maru is actually getting a ton of damage so far with this. 5 workers killed. And the bunker actually might finish. Oh, the bunker might go up. I don't know if Maru can get his Marines into it. The Lings are probably gonna try and zone him out. Maru can actually micro this. Marines do beat slow Lings. Spinecrawler isn't finished yet. Yeah, Maru's gonna get into the bunker. Immediately starts firing away against that spine. Worker gets behind the bunker. The Queen moving forward to try and snipe it. Is not gonna be able to do so. Immediately the focus fire. Maru just juggling this as best he can. Should be able to at least get the Spinecrawler down. But 10 Lings on the way. Another Queen being brought down to try and defend against this. The bunker should end up falling. Maru bringing out the Marines. Trying to kill more workers, but that should be it. That is the rush. Maru will continue to produce Marines, of course, but behind this, he has already gone ready with a transition. Has a factory that has been produced. Reactor onto that with a starport on the way. No natural base, though. Maru did not get greedy, did not go for the super early second CC after this. Cheese. We'll just be scouting out with the initial barracks and sending one back on home. And this is a Maru transition. You cheese, and then you're gonna go straight on into a regular game, but... Oh, no? I guess Dark does not want to get aggressive behind it. I think Dark had the Roach Warren down in case Maru was gonna keep producing Marines from those barracks across the map, but sees that they're being floated back. A little bit of indecision, cancels the Roach Warren. Now this game enters a very, very interesting phase as both these players not on the base count that they would like. Maru is only just now halfway through his command center, is adding on a lot of Hellions, and will be getting up to a very healthy count. Going to be going for a Hellion drop onto the main base with the medevac. And Dark as well. Just now about halfway done with metabolic boost. They're looking to get those Zerglings just a little bit faster. And ooh. This is a cute move. Maru gonna try and delay the 3rd base from Dark for as long as it can. Actually, even 8 more Lings in production here for Dark. Not looking to add on a 3rd just yet. We do have the Hellion drop coming across the map. Dark fully prepared, has Overlords keeping tabs on it. And Maru, oh, this is so mean. Maru just brings back these 5 Marines that he produced, stops the barracks from going down. As here we go, Hellions on into the main base. Maru trying to see how much he can do with it. Queens, though, immediately focusing down the medevac. Dark still has not started at third base. This is, of course, I mean, it's great news right now for Maru, who still really is trying to get back into a solid position. Hellion's going to be dropped down, should be able to snipe away a few of the Zerglings before they eventually do run off. And now into the third base under fire. Zerglings should be brought down to defend this. Hellions don't do the most damage versus buildings, so don't imagine they'll kill it. But no, actually, wait, Dark is bringing the Queens. Should still be able to defend the hatchery, but instead, it's Lings across the map. Dark's committing to the counterattack, trying to see how much damage he can get done. Third CC, this should end up being canceled, but there is already a Banshee out on the map. That will be able to completely eliminate most of the danger here from this attack. The CVs might still go down, though, if Dark does end up microing correctly. Not focusing fire, though, onto the low health as CVs finally gets 2. Commits a lot of Lings to that, though. And these Cloak Banshees for Maru. Has 2 of them already out onto the map. We'll be sending those across. As well as the Hellion drop. Just the single Cloak Banshee so far. The second one, of course, already across the map. Gonna be looking to get damage done. Spore Crawlers already produced. Already in these bases, ready to defend. Said Maru. Gonna swing them down, brings in the 4 Hellions. Queens, though, perfectly in position. Dark doing a great job of just mirroring these units from Maru, not letting any additional harassment go down. At the same time, committing once again on into the counterattack. Maru doesn't really have a lot to defend at home. It's a Hellion, and that is about it. It's enough to drive back, at least, the Hellions, as here we go, Banshees. I didn't go on in, but the Queen movement so far from Dark has been absolutely amazing in stopping these Hellions and the Banshees from getting any damage done. And that means that Dark right now is sitting at a very, very healthy 50 workers, is getting up into a layer alongside the evolution chambers. Maru Stim will be finishing up soon, though, and that's when he can start to push again, going up to 5 barracks. The third CC is finally finished, and this is where we start to get on into this game on Blackburn. Crazy early game, and yet somehow it has led us to a completely normal set to go into the mid game for these 2 players. It's 1-1 started up here for Maru. Banshees, see if they can find any damage again, though. Queen's just moving perfectly. Only 2 worker kills. And a lot of the 10 kills on that 1 Banshee, of course, are Zerglings. Tank production has started for Maru, and surprisingly, I think actually tank production. This is a game where I actually would have liked the Widow Mines. The Widow Mines did a lot of work in game 2. Of course, didn't really end up trading that well as you got on into Lurkers, which was strange because Maru was in a perfectly fine position to actually transition. And that was what kind of was baffling, was that Maru didn't transition. He didn't add on a 3rd factory. He didn't add on more tanks. Just was kind of trying to stick with the bio, and it didn't feel like it was really the plan. This game is continuing to produce tanks, does have the armor on the way, so we can start that 2-2 immediately. Now gonna try and drop into medevacs full behind these minerals. Of course, doesn't want this gold base to go up. It's for Dark. It just makes such a massive difference for the Zerg to have that extra mineral income. But that's the thing about a Blackburn. It has a very, very safe gold base, relatively, compared to other maps. But here we go, a tank being brought over. Hellion's already here. Maru gonna siege up this 4th, make sure that it doesn't go up, and it is a really awkward position for Dark to try and break. Banelings, though, have been produced. Centrifugal hooks are not done, but should be finishing up fairly shortly, about 20 seconds or so. As well as +2 melee attacks. Hydralisk Den has been completed, so it is going to be Lurkers for Dark. Is going to be the name of the game for him. There we go, centrifugal hooks. A little bit longer than I thought, but are going to be finishing up. We're going to have speed on those Banelings. And now Dark looking to commit on in. It's a lot of Lings, but there are Hellbats here. Immediately focus fire the tank onto the Banelings, but the Hellbats Not getting as much damage as you need. Maru picks up, gets on out. And Dark, able to crush that position, will be able to start mining from this gold base unperturbed. His Hellions are in production. +2 Carapace as well for the ground units. But it's also +2/+2 for Maru. We'll be finishing up a bit, you know, around the same time as the Carapace upgrade from Dark. As the Banshees, just being annoying. Clearing up creep. Maru has kept these alive for actually a really, really long time, and so trying to keep them useful as, ooh, the hatchery will go down. Dark was not in position to defend it. Now, though, these Marines might just get caught out. Maru has to pull them on back to the medevacs. Is able to fight the Lings straight up. Stark has split off half of his army. Is going to be looking for a counterattack here across the map. Immediately Baneling's in production. We'll be looking to try and hit this base here. This third base from Maru. There's not a lot to defend it. You do have the 4th CC in production. But as for actual units, the Banshees, they're also being pushed out across the map. Maru is trying to find push. The tank, though, should immediately get picked on up. Or picked out. Yeah, I'm trying to say words, but they're not coming out. As here we go, Baneling's committing on in. Marines have been brought back, though. 11 workers fall. Not as bad as it could be. Cancel onto the CC, though. It's massive there for Dark, who has added on a 4th and a 5th base. Has those in production. Maru gotta be able to catch out all these legs. Clean up this force here from Dark. Picked off. That's the word I was thinking of. And you have the upgrades starting to come through for both these players. 2/2 for Maru, +2 Carapace, of course, for Dark. And finally starting on those ranged upgrades because he is going to be getting on into the lurkers. And again, this style just looked a lot better. Game 2 looked a lot better than Game 1. Despite, you know, how I was talking about how comfortable Dark is with Roach Ravager, just did not really play it out well in that Game 1. As here we go, the hatchery going to be focused down, gets killed. Maru gets on out. Maru also going to be looking for attack here onto the building, the other building, 4th. And actually should be able to focus this down. Lings aren't being brought in quite fast enough. Maru will just trade against them. Hydralisk, though, going to threaten one of the medevacs. Maru has to leave some units behind. Now going to try an elevator on into the main base. Queen's already there, though. Ooh, Hydra's looking for a snipe. Going to be unable to get it. +3 on the way for Maru. Muscular augments for the Hydralis. Make them that much faster, that much easier to trade with them when you're able to micro them with that muscular augments. And already lurkers in production, even without the upgrades. 4 lurkers are going to be here for defense. And lurkers burrowed in the ground are still decently good. They don't need speed burrow unless you're trying to attack. They don't need that adaptive talons unless you're going to be active on the map. And right now, Dark is just looking to defend. And I think it's absolutely right choice here from Dark, who is going to have 8 lurkers out by the time this push hits. It's 4 tanks here for Maru. They don't have +1 though. That +1 only just now started. You also have these 2 Widow Mines that are going to be looking to burrow down. Oh, but Dark, look at that massive blob of units that's going to be looking for either a counterattack or a wraparound onto this army. It looks like it's going to be the counter of Lings going on in. What does Maru have? Well, has the tanks, has the Widow Mine burrowing down, and immediately the Mine Drag. A good start to this fight though from Maru. Does lose 2 tanks, but able to clear up a lot of the Lings with the mineral line. 9 SCVs already going down. Maru does manage to kill the base though. Now going to be swinging these 4 tanks on up. Most likely going to be looking to try and hit this gold base. It's a hive on the way for Dark. Dark pockets away this counterattack. Even burrowed some Lings. Oh, Dark. Such a nice move in the chaos of all. It burrows these Lings, will just bring them back up when he knows that Maru's attention is elsewhere. Going to be looking for another counterattack. Maru will actually meet this one though in the middle of the map. He should be able to clear it on up. Tank sieging up this 4th. It should, or this, this 4th. 5th base though, as Dark has finally established the top left. Should end up going down. Zerglings on burrow do get 6 work kills, but still Dark has again this other counterattack that's waiting. Is going to look to go on into the gold base. He knows that Maru's pushing. Maru's actually pushing out 2 armies at once, so this can get a lot of damage done. The planetary fortress is going to be under fire. Baneling's just going to roll on in. Oh, the mineral line. 11 workers go down. The planetary falls. Maru, 2 armies though, pushing at once. Going to be looking to see how much damage he can get undone. Lurkers unburrowing. Going to be moving on forward. Where's the scan for Maru? It's not coming down. Maru just has to pick on up. He's going to lose that army, but as well, Dark dipping in supply. Maru also moving forward with the small group at the bottom of the map. Still that counterattack going on for Dark. Finally cleaned on up. And Marines going to be picked on up. Get out. Maru loses his 4th. Trades army for army. Still, though, in a decent spot. But now, there you go. Seismic Spines on the way. +1 range for the Lurkers. As well as 3 Vipers. Gonna be looking for those abducts, of course, onto the tanks to get them out of position. Maru still has a group of Marines and Marauders here. Can't really push it. That many Lurkers will just shred through your Marines. No questions asked. Only +2 armor. No +3 armor on the way for Maru. Just doesn't have the gas. Maru doesn't have the gas for +3 armor. He's working on ghosts. Working on establishing... Is that his 2nd armory? Or does he have to rebuild it? Oh, Maru had to rebuild it. That's why. Maru had his armory at the front when the first Ling counterattack came through. That got sniped. He can't actually start up +3 armor even if he did have the gas for it. So Maru's going to be working with 3-2 bio for the time being. Clears up a lot of creep. Oh, Ling is looking to collapse on in. That's a few picks. That is about it. Adaptive Talon's now on the way for these Lurkers. They're going to have both of their upgrades. +3 melee attacks, +2 ranged attacks. Dark, looking to get on into this massive late game army. Of course, has the Vipers, slurping up some energy from the buildings around them. As Maru is continuing to tiptoe, has reestablished his 4th base at the gold. He's going to start mining from that and catching up to Dark in that income. Right now, of course, still was in favor of the Zerg, sitting on 4, trying to establish 5 bases. And one of the biggest things throughout these games is that Dark has, aside from game 2, has had trouble establishing bases. And that's the same case in this game. You know, only sitting at 4 bases is not the best. Maru has caught up and is in fact, you know, mining more with the gold. Meanwhile, Dark is having to rely on this long distance mining until this 5th base comes up. Maru's in a great spot, but I mean, my worry still stays for Maru here. What is your tech? Right now you're working with bio, and there are 9 tanks out. I mean, has luckily added on the 3rd factory, and this was the big mistake in that last game. There were not enough tanks that were able to do anything for Maru. And even though he has these tanks, though, still, +1, not going to be able to finish up. It's a long ways away from Maru, and that just means these tanks, it takes a while. It takes 3 shots to kill a Lurker, you know, directly firing on them. Splash damage not included in that package deal. And now, of course, you have the Vipers looking for these yoinks. Ghosts going to be brought on over. Dark's just going to be so annoying. 5th base under siege here for Maru, who is starting to drop a little bit in supply, not taking the best trades, but should be able to clear up a lot of these Hydralisks. That +1 to +3. +3 armor, +1 vehicle attacks are massive for Maru to get. Needs to get that +2, though, for his tanks to 2-shot the Lurkers. Don't know if that's correct, but it sounds correct. I've been saying it for a while, so I'm going to stick with it. If I'm wrong, correct me. Here we go. +3 melee, going to be finishing up for Dark. +3 Carapace, +3 ranged. All the upgrades coming through for the Zerg, sitting at 190 supply right now. No banks for either player. If either of these players takes a bad trade, that can just be game. But it does feel like right now Dark in the better spot. He's approaching maxed out. He's going to start to be able to save up money. Has 5 bases, has a 6th now established. Maru, it's 2 fronts at once. The Planetary Fortress is going to be going up at this 5th, but at the front, tank going to go down. The Lings are cleaned up, though. 12 workers go down to the Lurkers at the gold base at the Morphing Planetary. Maru sitting at 54 workers right now. Trying to establish this 5th, trying to even get this 4th up and running is so difficult with how annoying Dark is being with these Lurkers right now. Finally, tanks will be moved in position to defend it. But again, as soon as Vipers are rotated up, those tanks can just be yoinked on over, abducted into the Lurkers and the Hydras. Dark even has a Lurker just hidden away here, being so annoying. Ghosts have to be brought over, scans gonna have to be used. Snipes go down. Finally, Maru's gonna get back to mining, but his income is just so drastically low compared to Dark. Has established, 6 bases right now, 71 workers. Has lost a little bit more, but it's not as much as you'd usually expect from the Zerg at this point. Dark's been trading decently, only 3k more minerals lost. That is a bit of a risky commit there. There's a lot of Zerglings, and again, both these players not sitting at a very large bank. Even supplies right now. Only thing is, it's, I mean, one lurker left for Dark, but he has 12 in production. And trying to get up that massive lurker swarm. 2 tanks at a time, plus 2 vehicle weapons on the way. This is the big upgrade for Maru. As soon as this finishes, he's going to be able to push a bit more aggressively with these tanks. He's going to be able to defend so much better, but he needs that time because right now, the +3/+3 in all aspects for Dark will be finishing up soon. Weapons, or melee, ranged, and carapace, all going to be finishing with a Nidus network as well. Dark can be looking to try and be aggressive across the map. Ooh, the 5th base might just go down. Maru just sneaks a double drop across the map. As, ooh, going right on into Hydralisks. Oh, the medevac goes down. Maru there. Bit sloppy. It's continuing to produce tanks behind this. Is up to back up to 9. You want to be getting up to around 12 tanks or so. You want to be matching that lurker count because you know that when Vipers come out, of course, they're going to be able to go for the abducts. You need enough tanks that doesn't happen. Ooh, that's just a kill on the base. That's massive for Maru. I mean, Dark knew where this drop was, still gets the kill on the base, and that's massive. Again, both these players not a lot of money. Queens burrowing, trying to survive this other double drop, making its way on over. Lurkers have finally been burrowed. Maru gonna have to get on out. As all the Marines do end up falling. But it is a 6 base Zerg. Knocked back to 5. Of course, you do have the main almost mined out now. Gas almost gone. But there we go, the Nidus Swarm. But Maru, look at this. Already has a tank. He's actually had this tank sitting there for the past 5 minutes or so. Knew that the Nidus was going to come down eventually with this army composition. Is here we go. The drop does. Parasitic bombed, but will still find 4 working kills. As this time the Nidus has been placed right next to the tank and the lurkers are loading up. This is the chance for Dark. If Maru isn't ready for this, this could be actually so disastrous. This is just how you lose a game as a Terran, is when the lurkers just get on into your main and your production is sieged up. Because if you lose a single trade, suddenly you cannot rebuild. Dark's committing on in on the other side. His supply is dropping, but again, Dark can rebuild. And he's on top of the production for Maru. The tank's blinding clouded. They're not going to be able to fire. Immediately the supply is dropping. What's the rebuild for Maru? It's nothing. All the buildings are dying. GG! Dark makes the money moves and takes the best of 3. He's qualifying.